My name is Tim Bulge, and I'm the writer-director of a World War II short film entitled Finding God in the Ardennes. Everyone has a defining moment, one event or decision that changes everything, makes them who they are, and determines how they spend the rest of their life. For one man, one soldier, this event takes place during the largest ground battle ever fought by the U.S. Army, the Battle of the Bulge in the winter of 1944. Our film is the true story of Private George Eldridge. George was a rifleman in the 501st Parachute Infantry Regiment of the 101st Airborne Division, one of the first units to enter into the defense of Bastogne on December 19, 1944. His unit went into battle with 183 men. Roughly 24 hours later, they would have only 81. And this is a man, a multiple medal recipient who had fought in Normandy on D-Day and Holland during Market Garden, but none of that would prepare him for the bitter, bloody, freezing, and miserable month he would spend fighting in the Ardennes Forrest. During that time, he thought a lot about his life, who he was, his future, and what would happen to him if he was killed. Would he go to heaven? He knew the Bible said if you kill people, you don't go to heaven. George was never a strong religious man before the war, and the uncertainty and hopelessness of it all began to haunt him. The final blow came on January 2nd, 1945. George's best friend, a man he had known since boot camp, who had fought with him since Normandy, a man who had saved his life several times and was really the one thing holding everything together for him, was killed. This was the breaking point for George. But then a remarkable thing happened. In a foxhole, a medic in his unit comforted George with the message of Jesus, of the ransom price paid, and of the wonderful promises of God's kingdom, where all mankind will be resurrected. He explained it to George in a way that he had never heard before, and he was so incredibly moved by this message that it changed him forever, and he spent the rest of his life devoted to serving the Lord. I knew George very well as a child. He was a friendly, kind, and loving man who was adored by everyone that was lucky enough to know him. Not only was he a great role model in my life, but in my faith as well. After the war, George spent the rest of his life studying and teaching God's plan to people all over the country and the world. Anyone that knew George would say that above all, he was a master storyteller. In later life, George wrote several poems and short stories about the war, and for the men that fought it, including Cruel December, a dramatic first-person account of the Battle of the Bulge, from which our film is based. George was an advisor and contributor for several museums, the great Stephen Ambrose book Band of Brothers, and the film that inspired me to become a filmmaker, Saving Private Ryan. He knew and actually helped train Private Frederick Neeland, the real Private Ryan, who was also in the 501st. George was always vigilant to make sure that others' stories were told, that people knew and remembered the brave sacrifice that men like him made. George passed away in February 2010. It's time now that someone told his story. A project like this has been a dream of mine for as long as I've held a camera in my hands, and having the opportunity to tell George's incredible story is an honor for which I am extremely thankful. Not only do we want to make this film to honor men like George who served in World War II, but more importantly to spread the message of hope and peace that the story offers. I believe that there are a lot of people out there right now who feel like George did during the war, and that both the soldiers returning from the battlefields of today and the families of those brave men and women can be inspired by his story and find comfort in it. But I can't hope to make this film without the help of people like you. If you knew George, if he touched your life and like he did so many, or if you're inspired by his story and want to help it to inspire others, or if you know a veteran and want to contribute in their honor, please donate to our film. Together, we have a chance to bring an incredible and inspiring true story to the screen. One man's defining moment captured forever. Please help us so that men like George are never forgotten. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.